Welcome back to Behind the Scenes with Cookeville Lifestyles. I'm GraceAnn Whit, founder of MomReal Local. Y'all are in for a treat because I will be dropping in from time to time, helping host, but this time it's going to be all about young mom life here in the Upper Cumberland area of Tennessee. I was born and raised here, and I love this area. My parents have instilled in me a legacy of love to pour out onto this community. From being with Rising Above as I was little to Habitat for Humanity to the Cookeville Rescue Mission, they have instilled in me a love for this community. And so my heart in MomReal Local is just that, to help love on moms here in the Upper Cumberland area. Before we get into more about MomReal Local, and we will, I'm going to share with y'all a little bit more about me, who I am, and what you can expect from me. So again, I was born and raised here in the Upper Cumberland area of Tennessee. I went to Capshaw in elementary school and had some of the best experiences there. I was the guinea pig child. I was the first of the Gammon kiddos, my maiden name. And so I kind of bopped around from homeschool to private school to all sorts of things, but ended up landing at Highland Rim Academy where I graduated from. It was truly a great experience that taught me how to be not only a critical thinker, but also how to serve others in my community. From there, after I graduated, I actually went to Texas and was a part of a professional dance company there. Believe it or not, I did used to dance professionally, semi-professionally. I may not look like it now, but I did. I grew up dancing at the Center School of Dance here locally, and that really grew my passion for the arts, for dance specifically, and what I could do with that. So when I graduated high school, it was just something that I wanted to do. I wanted to pursue that, and my parents were really great to encourage me in that. I moved to Texas, danced there. I toured all over from North Carolina to all these places in Florida with that dance company, and really had an amazing time. But at the end of my season there, I just knew that my next step was university. I didn't see myself doing dance more. I ended up going to Union University in Jackson, Tennessee. So go Bulldogs there. And after about a year there, I started really missing Texas because that is where the dance company was in Texas that I was at. And there's just something special about when you move away from home and you have to be the one to find your people. You have to be the one to step out and find your place. And so I was doing that when I was living in Texas. I had to research what church to go to. I had to go to grocery stores that I wasn't used to. They didn't have IGA down the road across from my house anymore. I had to venture out. And so it was just a really sweet season there. But once I moved, like I said, and went to Union, I really started missing that and missing that experience that I had in Texas. So I ended up transferring to Dallas Baptist University. Go Patriots! And that is where I ended up meeting my husband when I went to church down in Texas. We lived there for 7 years together. And I ended up graduating in that time frame with an education degree and double minor in psychology and biblical studies. So fun fact about me, I've just always loved kids, y'all. I mean, this has just kind of been in who I am from the start. Like I said, from being with Rising Above to, when I was dancing, I would help, aid those dance classes and even my degree. I mean, it's all about kids, right? And so then we were in Texas later at the end of that 7-year time frame. We just really felt a pull to come back here to Cookeville. We were pregnant. I was pregnant. Let's give credit where credit is due, right? I was pregnant with our son, and we just wanted to be in a better place for him and wanted to be near family. That was our heart. And so we decided to move back here originally to Nashville because we came from Dallas. So huge metroplex there. And I thought that that's kind of what I wanted. But when we were in Nashville, I quickly remembered Cookeville and my upbringing here and what it looked like and how sweet it was. And every time we would come visit my parents here, I just thought, this is so Stars Hollow. So for my Gilmore Girls, fans, y'all know what I'm talking about. And when my husband and I were really thinking about where we wanted to raise our family, where we wanted to be planted. There just kind of was no question that this is where we wanted to be. And so the Lord had to work on my heart, honestly, because at first I was like, no, I was the one who left. I was the one who went to Texas and did all these things and, had friends here going, I can't believe you're doing this and that. But then it was just so sweet that the Lord brought us back here. And we are just so grateful to be here. And so now we're here, we're plugged into this community. I'm getting to love on these moms. I'm getting to love on people just in general. I actually have a day job. So I was just talking to someone the other day who asked me, they were like, wait, you do something other than MomReal Local? Like you work too? And yes, I do. Everybody knows in today's day and age, you gotta have that second income, okay? So I also am a property manager with my family's company, and I am so grateful for that. I have said time and time again that it has just been such a kingdom covering. And so I have been able to do that day job and also be able to pursue this MomReal Local as well. Now, when I've been asked, where has MomReal Local come from? What prompted you to do that? There's actually a story from when I first had my son. And if y'all know me personally, you know that I am just a very real person. I kind of tell it how it is. But I'm also a people pleaser, which I'm working on. Okay. I'm going into recovery. Okay. But it's just that feeling of wanting to be real and authentic with people. And so I had Liam, my son, and I had posted an Instagram story that said something like, I'm having a really hard time today. And I don't even remember what the post was about, honestly. It wasn't anything earth shattering. And I had somebody who I really looked up to reply to that. And let me first say that I know her personally. I know her heart. I don't think that she was trying to be negative. But it was, why are you posting this on social media? You need to be talking about that privately. And it was in that moment that I'm sitting here as a new mom. I'm struggling and I felt alone. There's so many moms who go through baby blues, whether that be the depression that comes with it or whether that be the anxiety that comes with it. There's even this fear that comes with having a newborn, right? I used to have nightmares that somebody would come and steal my newborn in the middle of the night. And I know so many moms can relate with those feelings. And so instead of kind of cowering down and saying, you know what, maybe I shouldn't be posting about these things. Maybe nobody wants to hear from me. Like all those different things that you can allow yourself to think. I instead took that message and said, no, I'm going to push in more. I'm going to be more of who I am. I'm going to be more real. I'm going to be more authentic. Because in a world that wants you to be picture perfect and wants you to present yourself in this perfect way, I think we crave authenticity. We crave that realness and that vulnerability from people. And so that is when MomReal was launched. And so I originally had started a podcast. And kind of more on that. That will be coming back later. So put a pin in that, y'all. You'll find out more about that. But I had launched that podcast and we had talked about things like, what does grief look like when you lose a child? What does that anxiety look like as a mom? I talked about Santa. That was one of my most controversial episodes, was Santa. Who knew? Who knew? I also talked to one of my friends who's raising a biracial baby. We talked about that. What does that look like? And these are real and honest conversations that we had. We're talking about hard things. And the amount of messages that I got from moms just saying, thank you for being real. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for talking about these hard things that maybe, our parents' generation doesn't want to talk about, or it was hushed. And so I had done that, but I had to put the podcast and MomReal as the umbrella brand of things on pause as I was dealing with some stuff just personally, and just kind of had to slow down and recalibrate. I feel like as moms, we get this almost burnt out, right? Where we're just giving and giving to other people and we're forgetting to pour into ourselves. We're forgetting that we're more than just moms. And so I kind of had to do that. I had to pause and really recalibrate. And in that time, I was just asking the Lord, like, what am I going to do? How am I going to live out my calling, which is I want people to feel seen, heard, and known. And what does that look like? You know, I have a passion for kids. I have a passion for moms. What does that look like? And so that is when MomReal Local was kind of birthed.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Do you need LASIK? Dr. Brittany Denaro of Cookeville Eye Specialists is one of the surgeons that specializes in LASIK. Smile, a brand new groundbreaking vision correcting procedure as well as cataract surgery. They're bringing all this technology right here to Cookeville. So if you're interested in getting rid of your glasses or contacts and seeing your world a little bit better, please give them a call or visit their website at cookevilleeye.com.
MomReal Local is about connecting moms, sharing moments, and discovering places. So again, I'm using that calling of wanting moms to feel seen, heard, and known, but I'm also giving it a little bit of a twist, right? Coming from Nashville and coming from Dallas, there were these accounts that I would follow that showed me the best parks in the area. Here's a new kid-friendly place, and it was really great to have that information. And it was really lacking here in the Cookeville area. And especially, I said earlier, I was a young mom that kind of struggled with some of that anxiety and depression a little bit of like, okay, what does the parking look like? Is this kid friendly? Will my stroller fit in where we're going? All those questions kind of circle through your head. And I really wanted to bring that here to the area. And so it was inspired by some really great accounts that, like I said, are in Dallas and Nashville and things like that. But I wanted to do it here locally and really show moms what all we had here in the Upper Cumberland, because there really is so much. I get asked all the time from moms, GraceAnn, what is your day that you would want to do in the Upper Cumberland area? And, I would start on the west side. I would start probably at Dogwood Park, and they have Heart of the City Playground that is there, which is so precious. They have the Dogwood Fountain, so if you're here over the summer, that's an amazing, amazing place. And Dogwood just has tons of grassy areas as well for your kiddos to run and, hit a soccer ball, or my son, everything right now is a golf stick. So even a baseball bat is golf, and he'll just go golf. So if that's one of your kiddos, they have great places for that as well. But I would start there, and then I would head on up on the west side, probably stop at Soulcraft, get you a strawberry lemonade. Soulcraft is very family friendly. I have been there before with my son, and they have been so accommodating. The stroller can fit in there. They have a back patio area. So if you're worried about your kids making a mess, definitely go back on the back patio. That is my hack. When we eat out, we're always eating outside, okay? Because that way, moms of littles, you just know they're just messy. They just are. Of course, we always try to do our best to clean up, but when you can't, you can't. So they have a great outdoor patio there. So I'd go grab a drink there. And then I'd head back a little bit, just one back over to Plenty Bookstore. And Plenty is an amazing resource. Again, y'all, I said earlier, this is like a Stars Hollow town, okay? We have this bookstore here, and it is magical. They have this little children's nook that has this table that kiddos can play with things for kiddos to play with, and a dollhouse and all sorts of toys. They also have a reading time. I believe it's on Mondays. That you can take your kids as well. But go to Plenty, pick out a book, let your kids play. Maybe you pick out a book and your kiddos play, and you buy the book and get to read a little bit for my book girlies. After Plenty, head down and stop at the depot. Y'all, this is again, all these things are free. You can spend money if you want to, but the depot is a free, amazing resource. My son, he's 2.5, loves trains. We're all about like trains, cars, basically any automobiles right now, anything. he's very into. So definitely stop by the depot. If they are open on the inside, they have a model train there. They also have a kids area in the back where they have books about trains. They have a little Thomas the Train little section for the kids to play with. Sometimes they have coloring books. Again, if you're going in the summer, sometimes they set out hula hoops and bubbles and all sorts of fun things there. And you can go and look at the different trains. After you go to the depot, you're going to end your day on the west side there at the French Cookie. Y'all, when I tell you, they have the best macarons, okay? They are so good. But we love it because it is a family-friendly place. The owner, Kirsten, created it with families in mind. So she has 2 young kids herself, and you can definitely tell that she was so careful in the way that she designed her space for families. There is a little nook as soon as you enter, that has a kids table. Again, it has puzzles and books and other toys for kids to play with. She also is one of the only, if not the only place that I know of on the west side that has a changing table in her restroom, which is huge. So mamas of littles that you're having to change their diaper, the French Cookie is where you want to go, okay? Liam loves it. Whenever I pick him up from school, sometimes we go get a little treat, go get a cookie. And it got to the point where I'll pick him up now and he'll go, "Cookie, Mama?" And I'm like, how do I say no to that, you know? But she is so great, and she's so accommodating too. She has dye-free options. Everything's gluten-free there. And again, it's made all in-house. So, but yeah, that's kind of my day of what I would do on the west side. Just to recap that, go Dogwood Park, go to Soulcraft, Plenty, Depot, and French Cookie. There's 5 stops right there for you. So, depending on how many kiddos you have, that's, under $20 right there for your day. So it's a great place to be there. If you're wondering more about, okay, what else is there here locally, again, MomReal Local is here to help you. It is the one-stop shop for all things mom here in the Upper Cumberland area. So I have a groups guide also that helps you find your place here. So, I have that connect part in the very beginning of who I am. And I want to help you connect with moms. I truly believe that we are not meant to do life alone. And whatever your belief system is, I want you to find your place here. And so I have a groups guide that has links to all sorts of groups. One of them I think of is Cookeville Mom Co. They have a Baxter Mom Co. There is obviously Hip Cookeville is an amazing one that a lot of people know. There's also a new group that just started that's called Coffee Mom Talks, I believe. You'll have to check my guide to double check that. But it meets in All Good on Fridays, and they have coffee, and then they get to walk with their kiddos. There are just so many amazing groups here. And so I want to help you find your place and find your people. Help connect you there. So I have that guide for free there. I also have a guide here just locally of all the free things that you have here in the Upper Cumberland area, and it's broken down by city. So Cookeville playgrounds and places that you can explore there. I have Baxter, I have Monterey, I have Allgood, I have Sparta that I just recently added. And then I also have some little extras down at the bottom for you, things that you can know as a mama, such as like Publix giving you free cookies for your kiddos as you're shopping around. These are things that you need to know about, okay? And so I'm taking the guesswork out for you, and I am doing it for you for free. Because again, I just want you to be able to connect with other moms. We have that, groups guide. I want you to be able to share your moments. So be sharing it with those people you're connecting with. Be sharing on socials. And then discovering local places that are amazing here in our community. And I'm giving you guys the space and opportunity to do that. One of the things that I also recently started posting about is where to shop. Where can I shop here locally that is for kids, y'all? And so far I have featured Ready, Set, Grow and Ruffle Me This. Shout out to both Morgan and Maggie who own those two. They are amazing places for kiddos to shop. I think it was like 2 weeks ago, or maybe it was last week. What is time as a mom? But I was talking to a friend and she was like, I'm so behind on back to school for my kids. I want them to have super cute outfits. I need to go to Target, but I don't have time. And I said, girl, what do you mean? We got Ruffle Me This and Race That Girl in our backyard. Why do you need to go to Target? And so she ended up going and finding some really cute stuff. And she just didn't know. She didn't know what we had here locally. So we have that kind of shop features, what I'm calling shop features there. We're also going to be expanding into eats. So what places around town are family friendly? What places around town are great with your stroller? Or that have high chairs. Not every restaurant in town has high chairs, and that's okay. That's their prerogative. But I'm here to help tell you where you can go with your family too. So that's just kind of a little bit of the things that I'm doing here to serve you guys here in the Upper Cumberland area. So right now, I just have the Eats feature. And you can find that, should probably tell you where you can find me, right? We've gotten almost all the way through this, and I'm not shared that with you. So you can find me on Instagram at MomReal_local. You can also find me on Facebook, MomReal Local, on there as well. I have the link tree there that has those guides listed. So it has that local guide. It has that groups guide. And it has some upcoming things. But before I talk about that, I'm going to share with you what you can expect on those 2 guides that I already have out. So again, that local guide I shared with you, you can find those playgrounds. You can find more about those playgrounds, such as, what time are they open? Where are they located? Do they have a bathroom? That is a huge one, especially, maybe not for your kiddos that you can just throw in the back of the car and change their diaper, but definitely for those 2-year-olds who are just beginning potty training and need to find a bathroom right then. So I tried to put the guesswork out of that for you, and go ahead and put that on the guide as well. And there's also just a little description about it. So kind of what to expect in my own words and in my opinion, about these parks and about these things here locally. Kind of as you get into my Instagram and I share reels about these places, I also give you safety ratings. So again, this is totally my opinion, but I share with you things that you might want to think about. Like City Lake, it's one way in, one way out. And as a mama that you may have multiple kiddos, you may want to think about safety in regards to that and be just a little bit more self-aware as you're going around. Also, Tadstown at Cookeville Life Church. It's fully gated and has 3 security checkpoints. It was a 10 out of 10 in regards to safety. So those are the types of things that I'm helping you take the guesswork out of. You don't have to think about it. I'm doing it for you. So all of that is on that Instagram. And like I said, those guides are linked there for y'all for free already. So kind of circling back to the Eats, you will be seeing that Eats guide here coming up. But also, I recently met with Becky, who is over Rising Above Ministries. And her husband founded it, and their son, John Alex, is an amazingly spectacular young man. And he has overcome so much and continues to, but he has special needs. And so I have connected with her about how can I bring more inclusivity to MomReal? And so I have been in contact with some mamas who have amazing kiddos that have disabilities and differing things. And so mamas are going to be starting to do takeovers on my Instagram. And they're going to be telling you, where you can go that has inclusive stuff. What swings are great for your kiddo. Maybe even, sensory friendly places. Things that I might not think about. And I want them to find their place here. When I made this, I wanted it to be for all moms. I wanted it to be for any type of mom that's here. And so that is one thing that is coming soon that I am so, so excited to bring to you. I also am working on a party guide. So I get questions all the time, and I also see on Hip Cookeville, I know you do too, about, okay, where can I host my son's birthday? Or, hey, I'm looking for, a cookie decorator was one that I just saw literally this morning somebody asked about. Again, the goal is to help take the guesswork out for you and be that one-stop shop for all things young mom life here in the area. So that includes birthday parties. So I have already been working on it, and as of this recording, it has not launched yet, but it has, locations that you can throw your child's birthday party. Where are they at? What is the contact information? And let me tell you, some of those places I had to dig for, okay? So y'all know this is a labor of love, but I have that on there. I also have vendors. So are you looking for somebody who does face painting, who does balloon artists, who does, those character meet and greets? There was somebody, again, posted today about wanting Anna and Elsa there at their child's birthday. So all of those vendors are going to be in a place for you there. So that is coming as well. There is just so much that I could tap into for MomReal Local. I would love to hear from y'all on what I could help with and help serve you here in the Upper Cumberland area. I am doing all of this for free. I mentioned earlier I have a day job, right? And so I am doing all of this literally out of just my heart for wanting to connect moms and help serve them here in the Upper Cumberland area. There is so much here, and we have so many people moving here from other places that may not know what we have to offer, or they may be scared to venture out because they're not sure if they can bring all 3 kids there, or if their toddler is going to be able to escape and run off super quickly. I think of Hope Park, which is on the way to Baxter. And that park is situated, away from the road, away from the parking lot. And as a mom of a 2.5-year-old toddler, I really appreciate that because he is running and playing everywhere. And so I don't have to be as on him about staying with stuff because, again, the safety, I don't have to think about the cars right beside of him. But I take the guesswork out of that for y'all. Hope Church Park is another great park in our area. It is gated, and I even have talked to the head pastors there and have asked them, okay, what are the hours for operation here? And they're a little bit different during the summer, during the school year. So again, I've done all that guesswork for you. I have taken away any sort of, stipulation, I guess I should say, about, oh, well, I don't want to go here because I don't know what to expect, or I don't know what times they're going to be open. I have taken that away for y'all, and I've done all of that research. So again, the groups guide is a great place to find all this information. And y'all remember, you can find me on Instagram, on Facebook, MomReal Local, all about connecting moms, sharing moments, and discovering local. Y'all will hear more from me, and you'll get to hear from some people here in the Upper Cumberland that will be on with me to help serve y'all better. So be on the lookout for that, and thanks for being here today.